What up, fam? It's your boy, Boy 2024, streaming to you live. Yeah, it's a brisk 20 degrees outside. I'm freezing, but I got my red one blanket, so I'll be okay. The show must go on, as they say. The show must go on. I have to talk to you about this movie that's out now that you need to see right now. But first, let me just say, isn't it crazy that in 2025 we're getting another Now You See Me movie? That series, I had never really gone into that series. I vaguely knew about it. I kind of turned up my nose and scoffed at it. I vaguely knew, okay, Jesse Eisenberg is like a magician or something. It looks really silly, and I just kind of wrote off that series for so many years. But with the new one out, I finally went back and kind of did a deep dive. I'm going through the trilogy now. And I just gotta say, I didn't even realize there were 3 of these movies. I thought that Now You See Me, Now You Don't. I thought it was the second one, but no. The second one is called Now You See Me 2, and the third one, this new one, is Now You See Me, Now You Don't. And I'm like, okay, so now it's a trilogy. Jesus Christ, it's been going on since 2013. But yeah, no, I love them. I love these movies. I'm glad I went back and actually gave them a chance, sat down and actually watched the things. All these movies have a great cast. They always have a Marvel movie level cast. They have a great cast. Freaking Joe Kelly from House of Cards, Lizzie Kaplan from True Blood. She's in the second excuse me. She's in the first season of True Blood. No, Lizzie Kaplan's in the second movie. She's great. Daniel Radcliffe's in the second movie. Holy shit. I mean, the first movie, you've got Morgan Freeman and Michael Caine. That's half a Batman movie cast right there. Holy shit. Yeah, no, this is a bit of a reach, but I'm watching these movies, and honestly, they remind me of an anime. Seriously, think of if you're watching Fire Force or something, and every character has some superpower that's vaguely related to fire. They all have fire-based powers. That's how this is. Every character has their own special skill or power that's vaguely, magic or magician related, and it's cool. It's really fun. They're really fun movies. I actually recommend them. It's just wild to me that we're getting a third one. 12 years later or something after the first one. That's crazy. That's neither here nor there. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to that. Don't turn your nose up like I did. Actually give those movies a chance. I think you'll be surprised. Actually, I do like those movies now. Anyway, but yes, the movie I'm here to talk about, you have to see. It's called Eternity. It is a new movie starring Elizabeth Olsen. It's an A24 movie, which means it's going to be kind of hard to find. I know you might have to kind of go out of your way. You might have to see it at an odd time. A24 movies always stay in theaters for a week or two, and then they're gone, unfortunately. And A24, that's a mark of quality. They always make pretty much always make good movies at this point. But yeah, you might have to go to your local theater might not be carrying it even. You might have to go to slightly out of your way to a different theater or something. That's what I had to do. But trust me, it's worth it. I swear it's worth it. The Rotten Tomatoes score is pretty high. I would even go higher. I think the Rotten Tomatoes is 77%. I would give it. Honestly, this is a 10 out of 10 legendary movie in my opinion, especially if you like romance movies or comedies, romantic comedies. I know that's kind of a dirty term now. That's kind of it's kind of like how in the movie business and Hollywood business, certain genres or certain terms are frowned upon. With a horror movie, horror is not looked upon fondly by critics or by the Academy. You should label it a thriller. A thriller has a better chance of winning awards at the Academy Awards. You know what I mean? Horror, straight up horror is kind of looked down upon. But it's the same thing with call this a drama, I guess, a romantic drama, because rom-com's a dirty term. Romantic comedy, that's kind of a dirty term. Those are frowned upon, or looked down upon. But I mean, that's what this is. This is a movie. It's definitely a romance. It's a movie about a love triangle, and it's a comedy. It's actually a very funny movie. I mean, it's also a sad and dramatic movie at times, but it is a very funny movie. So I would label it a romantic comedy. It's romance and comedy. It's a romantic comedy. It's a rom-com, but you don't want to call it that because people will hate on it. People won't see it. But yeah, this is where it gets awkward. I normally don't talk about Elizabeth Olsen's projects. As you may know at this point, as you know, my wife is Elizabeth Olsen. Lizzie is my wife. So I feel it's just inappropriate. It's just unprofessional. Obviously I'm biased. Obviously I'm gonna promote any show or movie that she's in, but like I don't want to be accused of like, you know, bias, you know what I mean? Like it's like you're not going to take my word, because obviously I'm very, very, you know, biased in favor of any project that she does, because I think she's a, you know, a fantastic actress, obviously, but she's also my wife, so there's a, what's the term, it's like a conflict of interest or whatever. So why am I breaking that rule? Why am I breaking that rule? Because I am willing to I'm willing to be accused of and it's not even, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not nepotism. That's not the right word. Whatever, bias or whatever. But like, yeah, I'm willing to be accused of whatever, because like I don't care. You know, call me biased. It doesn't matter that she's the star in this movie. This movie is fantastic, and I need to talk about it. I need you to go watch this movie. I need you to know about this movie. It's an A24 movie, so I don't know how much people even know about the film. I hope it does well box office wise. I'm too scared. I'm afraid to check the box office numbers. I know, you know, these movies always kind of struggle, the A24s. I know critically it's doing very well, so I'm hoping that makes me very hopeful. At the very least, I hope that Lizzie will get, you know, some sort of recognition at the Academy Awards, because this is definitely, you know, as long as they label it a drama, let's label this a romantic drama or something, and then maybe the Academy will recognize Lizzie. But if we call it a rom-com, then no one will watch it or talk about it, or you know, give it the respect it deserves, which is unfortunate. So yeah, I'm gonna forge ahead, and I'm gonna say go see this movie. The entire cast is fantastic, especially Miles Teller, Elizabeth Olsen. The other dude, I don't know his name. I've never seen him in anything before, but he's also very, very good. So what's yeah, this is like a don't tell Lizzie. Don't tell her I'm making this video. Don't tell her I'm reviewing her movie. I mean, I'm only gonna say positive things, of course. No, I actually do have a few nitpicks. Just like, I mean, just, you know, no movie's perfect. Even though I'm giving something a 10, that just means it's an incredibly, you know, high quality movie. But it's gonna have flaws. Every movie has flaws. Every story has flaws. You know, it's how do I put this? You know, just because I point out some flaws in something, you know, it's like, you know, at the end of the day, was it a good story? Did you like the characters? Did you like the performances from the actors? That's all that matters. Like, you can point out a plot hole here or there, but like, you know, at the end of the day, that's what really matters. You know what I mean? So if I do point out a plot hole, or I do make some sort of criticism or complaint, don't take that to mean that I don't like the movie, or that I'm, you know, shitting on it, or, you know, I'm just giving a fair review. I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible and call it as I see it. You know what I mean? Just like I did with Now You See Me. But don't tell Lizzie. Now people in chat are saying hashtag don't tell Emma Myers, don't tell Emma, hashtag don't tell Emma about Lizzie. What are we talking about? Don't tell Emma Myers? Come on, are we still doing that? Listen, I don't have a thing for Emma Myers, okay? I'm just that's just the thing. I play into it, because like then when I deny it, when I say I don't like Emma Myers, and people say I'm in denial, or I'm protesting too much, or whatever, and then I'm like, all right, whatever, I'll just like lean into it when people like accuse me of like simping for Emma, or whatever, you know. I just go with it now. I'm like, all right, whatever. No matter what I do, people will say I'm a simp for Emma Myers. So, all right, fine. Yeah, don't tell Emma. Hashtag don't tell Emma. Don't start that trending. Please don't. Don't tell Emma about this movie. I'm obsessed with this movie. Let me talk about this movie. I haven't even told you anything about this movie. So, I mean, I do want you to go see it. I'm going to try and avoid spoilers for as much as I can. But basically, the premise of the movie is a very unique one. That's why I like this movie. It is a love triangle, but it's a very unique love triangle. So this is a movie that deals with death and the afterlife, and what it's like, what the beyond is like. So, and it's a very unique take that I personally have never seen before in fiction. I'm sure there's a take like this out there, but I have not seen something quite like this before. And it was very intriguing to me. It kept me thinking long after I watched the movie. But basically, when you die, you know, let's say I were to die right now, okay? So there is an afterlife, there is, but it's not the commercial heaven/hell that you think it is. You basically go to like this glorified waiting room, which honestly, like if the afterlife is real, that's what I think it probably is. It's not really like heaven per se. I do think you would end up in like a glorified DMV waiting to be sorted, like paperwork. You'd be in like a freaking airport basically, like waiting, like an airport terminal, and that's where Miles Teller ends up after he dies. And basically, you have to meet up with your AC or afterlife coordinator. This person will like meet up with you, like kind of pick you up. Again, it's kind of like the airport. They even have like the sign with your name on it, like, hey, Miles Teller, oh, there you are, like, come with me. And basically they give you the gist of what's going on, and they say like, yeah, like, you know, a bunch of like basically salespeople will come up to you telling you about different afterlives, after different eternities you can go to. Like, oh, you like robots? Here's Robot World. You want to go to Robot World? Or, oh, you like whatever, sea animals? You want to go to Sea World? You want to like live in Sea World for the rest of forever? You can do that. You can do pretty much anything, but you only get to choose one. That's the big thing. You can choose one eternity, and that's it. Period. End of sentence. So you really gotta be careful with your decision, and that's why a lot of people actually stay in the hub world, kind of like figuring it out, like making up their minds, because it's a pretty big decision. But yeah, so where it gets really complicated is so Miles Teller dies first, but his wife, you know, we meet them when they're both, you know, very, very old, you know, basically dying of old age. And he dies first, and he's waiting for his wife to show up, Lizzie. And so she shows up, but basically he's asking, he's like, oh, well, like, what happened to my parents? And his AC is like, oh, well, yeah, they're somewhere, like, they're in an eternity. He's like, well, can I go see them? And she's like, yeah, I mean, you can, but like, that's it. That's your choice. You know, you can't be with Lizzie. You have to choose. Oh, you want to go to the world that they went to? So that's it. And that's unfortunate, but it's like, yeah, you really have to choose. And so he's like, okay, you know, I'm gonna wait for Lizzie to show up. But here's the little twist. So Miles Teller is Lizzie's second husband. Lizzie was married when she was very young, and her first husband died in the Korean War, and then she remarried, and then spent the rest of her life with Miles Teller. So here's the problem: Lizzie shows up at the terminal, meets up with Miles Teller. Then husband number one shows up. He's been working as a bartender at this hub world the whole time for 67 years. He's been waiting for Lizzie to die so that he could pass on with her to their own eternity, not even thinking that maybe she would have remarried and have a second husband by now. So Lizzie is now trapped in the ultimate love triangle. She has to choose, and she's even asking them, like, well, like, can we like work something out here? And they're like, no, like, you have to pick a world to go with, either husband one or Miles Teller, and that's it. And she's like, can I have time to think about it? They're like, yeah, but like, you know, you can't spend too long. And in fact, this is where I kind of have to nitpick a little bit. Where there's a couple things here. I won't again. I'll try and avoid spoilers, but let's just say this world has very strict. It's a very interesting world. Again, it's a very interesting high concept. I really love the concept. I want to know more about this world. We only get little breadcrumbs. We only get like little details here and there. I wish there was like a book version of this that would like really go into the world. You know what I mean? The world building. But it is very interesting. There are a lot of little details that we don't really fully go into. But let's just say that it's a case where this is slightly annoying to me. Where it's a case where this world has very strict rules, except for the main characters, who are allowed to break all the rules all the time and never have consequences and face no consequences, basically. So with Lizzie, for example, she is deemed a very special circumstance. We've never seen this before. Like, this has never happened before. You're stuck between two different husbands. Like, you know, which one do you choose? So we're going to give you a very special visa so you can actually sample two different eternities, one with each husband. You can basically go on a glorified date with husband one and then date with husband two, and then you have to make up your mind after like 2 weeks or whatever. And I'm like, really? Is this really such? I mean, I get it's like kind of it's definitely an unusual situation for sure. But to say that this is like unprecedented, to say that this is like a very unique situation, I mean, again, taking into account that this is the hub world for all human lives from Earth, all people that die go to this hub world. You're telling me that this doesn't happen like all the fucking time? That like this situation is it really that unique or rare? I would think that these ACs would see this situation all the fucking time. You know, like even if it's like, even if this happens to like, let's say like 1% of the Earth's population, that's still like, you know, many people, right? That this has happened to. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I don't know. They treat Lizzie like she's so fucking unique and special, and it's like, I'm sure that, like, you know, statistics-wise, this has probably happened many times over, right? So why isn't there, like, a protocol for this by now? You would think there would be. And you know, it's a lot of little things like that that kind of annoy me. But it's like, you know, again, I'm getting lost in the weeds here. I do want to mention a couple other things. So they touch upon these little topics. So what I didn't understand is, so from what I understand, you know, you go to the hub world, right, and you're like a lost soul trying to pass on, and the ACs they are themselves souls too, and so is everyone that works in the hub. So because like husband one became a bartender while he waited 67 years for Lizzie to die. So like everyone there is a soul that just chose not to choose an eternity for some reason, and I'm like, okay, it doesn't quite make a lot of sense to me. And also like all the salesmen that are like selling people eternities, like they are themselves souls. What's like the I don't know, what's the incentive? You know what I'm trying to say? It's like it would make, if they threw in some little detail where like, oh, if you sell, you know, so many eternities to such and such people, then you get like a special bonus prize, or you know, you get something special, or you know, I don't understand the incentive, because the salesmen are so aggro, like they are really pushing, you know, robot world or whatever world they represent. You know, I just I don't understand their incentive to do what they do, because they're dead now and nothing matters anymore, right? You know what I'm saying? Like and what I just thought of this. This is a detail that I would put in the script. You know, again, I'm not trying to act like I'm a genius director or screenwriter. I'm just kind of telling it like I see it. This is an idea I literally just had, but this would make sense to me, right? So they bring up this idea, and again, it's like an idea that they could have done more with, but they don't really touch upon it. So some worlds get retired because they are no longer acceptable. You know, it's basically what it's kind of like a meta joke where they're saying like, you know, talking about like modern PC culture. So like, I mean, there's no heaven and hell, so like bad people go to this world. Again, this is like something I wish they went more in detail into, but the movie obviously is very focused on the love triangle with Lizzie, Miles Teller, and the other guy, and you only get little sprinklings of like other people's stories and everything, but like there's always shit going on in the background. This is a movie I would like to rewatch and like pick up little details in the background, like what other characters are doing in the background. Anyway, but yeah, there's no heaven or hell. In fact, when Miles Teller first gets there, he's like, "Oh, like is there no heaven? Is there no God?" And his AC is like, "Oh, you're one of those? Okay." And she pulls out all these pamphlets. He's like, "So which one do you want? Do you want God or Buddha or like?" And she's like, "Which one do you want?" And he's like, "Oh, no, but like for real though, is like who's in charge here?" And she's like, "Oh, like, you know," she just like says, you know, like Gary, or you know, there's like a guy, but he's like Steve. He's like, "Well, who's your boss?" And there's like another guy, Steve. And well, who's Steve answer to? He's like, "I don't know, Karen." Like, it's like they're basically, yeah, there is no God the way that we think of him, but there has to be somebody in charge of this place. And again, I wish they kind of went a little bit more into that type of thing, but yeah, there's no divide of like heaven and hell, good people, bad people. Everyone goes to this hub world, right? So you got to think about it. There would be bad people. There would be people whose fantasies would be, I mean, there would be masochists, right? There would be people who would literally want hell, like the way we think of it. They would want that to be their eternity, right? And like there's other people who would you know, and they briefly touch upon this, because the one AC is telling Lizzie, he's like, "Oh yeah," like, because there's all these like messed up posters and stuff. She's like, "Well, what was that?" And she's like, the guy's like, "Oh yeah, we got rid of that world. We had to retire that world." And she's like, "Why?" "Well, you know, it was populated by these people, and they wanted certain things that would not be okay by modern standards. Like it wasn't very PC." He literally says that it wouldn't be very PC to keep this world or whatever. So I don't know, you know, fill in the blanks, use your imagination. I'm sure there's people that would want to be, you know, running a slave plantation or something. Like that's their fantasy. Again, everyone goes here. Bad people go here. You can imagine what certain people's fantasies would be, what their eternities would be. And this idea of like, oh, retiring worlds is interesting to me. And so my idea that I just thought of, I would like you know, what they could have said something like, oh, if this salesperson, like he represents like, you know, whatever, Robot World. If he doesn't get enough people to populate Robot World, they're going to retire Robot World and it'll be gone forever. And so that's his motivation to sell, you know, people brochures or sell people on Robot World. Like that would make sense. I would like that little detail would make a lot of sense to me. But I'm that's not in the movie. I'm making stuff up to like kind of justify people's actions, or you know, why they do the things they do. Anyway, but like that was a really interesting idea. I wish they did more with that. Another thing that they don't do a whole lot with is you constantly, it's not even like one time, this constantly comes up and happens while characters are talking. Miles Teller will see a guy like running from the guards, like he's like running for his life, trying to escape, and Miles is like, oh, what happened, what's up with this guy? And then he gets like tackled, and they're like, oh, well, he tried to escape his eternity. And because you, again, it's a very hard set rule, until it's not, but it's a very hard set rule. You cannot escape your eternity, or you wouldn't want to anyway, but like you choose your eternity. I want to go to hot tub babe world, and you go there, and that's it, that's your world now forever. You can't leave, and if you try to leave, you get punished. And Miles Teller's like, well, what do you mean you get punished? Like, what happens? Like, they can't kill you again. Like, what? And his AC's like, no, but they can throw you into the void, and it's basically just an eternal. It's the closest thing they have to hell. It's you're in like the blackness of space forever, and there's just nothingness forever, and that's like, yeah, the ultimate punishment basically. And that happens to people that try to break the rules, people that try to escape their eternities, and that's interesting to me because you keep seeing it happen. So you would think that people would be happy with their eternities, right? I mean, they go through all this process to like pick one that's specialized for their needs. That's interesting to me, and I wish they did more with it. It's like, well, why are people unhappy with their eternities? Like, isn't there something there worth exploring? Like, why are people escaping? You know, and then they're getting thrown into the void. Like, that's pretty harsh. You know, is there an escape from the void? I guess not. But and again, it's a detail they throw in a couple of times, so you think I thought it was like going somewhere, but like, no, it's a detail of this world, but that's about it. And I'm like, all right. But yeah, at the heart of the story, it is a very good love triangle. I can speak about this because I watch a lot of romance movies. I watch a lot of rom-coms, and you know, a poorly written movie, a lazily written movie. Here's how it usually goes. There's a love triangle because people like love triangles and they're easy to do. It's an easy source of conflict, right? So main guy, our underdog guy, or like slightly less attractive guy, who would be Miles Teller, he likes the really beautiful, unattainable girl, Elizabeth Olsen. Elizabeth Olsen is with, the really hot guy. And so what happens is, in order for our underdog to get with her, we have to reveal that the boyfriend or husband or whatever is like secretly an asshole or abusive or just a jerk, or some sort of flaw where she doesn't want to be with him anymore, and that's why she hooks up with Miles Teller. That's what usually happens, right? So that's not the case here, where we go very deep into it, and it's a very hard decision for her because both of them are, these are real people. They have flaws, but not in like a cartoonish way. I was so worried that handsome, perfect guy would like take this villainous turn, and he would like kidnap Lizzie in the third act, and then Miles Teller has to like rescue him or something, rescue her from him or some shit like that, where he just turns into like a mustache twirling villain. And it's like, no, he without saying too much, he is very handsome. He seems perfect on the outside. He has the perfect story. That's what everyone at the terminal keeps saying. He has the perfect story. He waited. He's a diligent husband. He waited 67 years for her to return. It's the perfect love story. She has to choose him, right? And then we reveal that he's actually not as perfect as he seems, but not in a cartoonish way, just in a realistic way where it's like in a nobody's perfect kind of way, and I appreciate that. Everyone has layers. Everyone has shades of gray. No one is like a cartoonish villain or hero, at least in a well-written movie. And Miles Teller, he's no angel himself, and but he is still kind of our less attractive underdog character, and we do kind of want him to end up with Lizzie. And man, they keep you guessing. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a hard decision to make, but man, Lizzie, it's really frustrating to watch, and like they really keep you guessing. She like I said, she goes on dates with both of them. She keeps wavering back and forth between both of them. Both of them have reasons and for her to be with them. Both of them kept secrets from her. Both of them have bad things about them. And she just can't make up her mind, and she keeps you fucking guessing until it's like a 2-hour movie, and man, for like 99% of those 2 hours, you really don't know who she's gonna pick, and they do a really good job of keeping you on your toes with that. But it is a bit frustrating too. It's like, I know it's hard, but bitch, just make up your mind. Like, Jesus Christ, how long have we been talking about this? We've been talking about this for like 2 hours. But yeah, I mean, I don't know who, it is a very hard choice. I don't know who I would choose if I was in her shoes. Like, who would you choose? I really don't know, because like with Handsome Man, for example, he does have kind of the perfect story. He waited 67 years for her to reunite with him, and again, it's not like she broke up with him. It's not like he's her ex-husband. He died. Like, you know, their love was ended prematurely. So there's that idea in her head, well, maybe I would have been happier with him. Like, maybe I should give this a second shot. Maybe this is like the chance we needed. We deserve to have a second chance. We deserve to have. We never got to have a life together. You know, I already had a life with Miles Teller. So there's that side of things. But on the flip side of things, with Miles Teller, he makes a good case in that, yeah, I mean, like, this other guy was her husband, true, but I was your husband for far longer. Like, I lived a full life with you. I started a family with you. I went through all the ups and downs of marital life, which you never got to have with the other guy. You're the reason you kind of prefer the first in your mind is you guys were still in the honeymoon phase. You were still in the puppy love phase. You weren't together long enough to see the hard times that do come with a real long-term relationship, right? Because he got called to war very quickly and then was killed, and so again, their first romance was cut prematurely, which is tragic and sad, but at the same time, she did have a full life with Miles Teller, you know. So I mean, I'm watching. I do kind of side with Miles Teller, but I see the argument for both sides. I really do. And another idea that I really love in this movie, and this is what I hope is the case if the afterlife is a real thing. Who knows? But basically, like, let's say you die when you're 90 years old in a wheelchair. You don't want to be a 90-year-old man in a wheelchair for eternity, right? So, like, what happens is when you get to the hub world, you revert back to the happiest moment of your life. Like, how did you look then? Like, the happiest day of your life, let's say you were 17 years old. So now you're 17 again. You know what I mean? I like that idea. You kind of like revert to like the best version of you. It really makes me think of, I'm sorry to go back to a Star Wars reference again, but I always think of like that funeral scene in Return of the Jedi when Luke looks over like the funeral pyre and he sees Anakin, and he doesn't see like old man Anakin, he sees Hayden Christensen. He sees Anakin in his prime, because that's who you should revert to when you're in like the Jedi ghost form or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I always like that idea, and I hope that's like the case if there is an afterlife. Like, I'd like to go back to but that's the rule for this world, is that you revert to the form you were in on the happiest day of your life. So everyone's like young and beautiful again. You know, Lizzie and Miles Teller and this other guy, they're all as attractive as they could possibly be. But yeah, what else? I don't know. It's a really tough one. And you totally see the first guy's perspective, because he is like, you know, I was robbed of the chance to have children with you. I was robbed of like a life with you, and I waited 67 years for you to show up again. And it's like, and with Miles Teller, she kind of gives him shit, because she's like, well, you really only waited like what, a week or two, because you knew I was on death's door or whatever. And he was like, well, you know, I would have waited longer. I just didn't have to. And then she's like, well, and then she's like wondering, well, what would he have though? Like, would he have waited 67 years? You know, that's a long time. That's a really long time. Yeah, I don't know. And they also bring up the idea of like, why, you know, obviously this is a hard question to answer, or a hard situation to figure out. What if all three of them went to a world and figured it out? You know, like, you could spend eternity figuring it out, and then like all of them kind of agree like that would just be hell. Like we're gonna spend an eternity arguing over this unsolvable problem. Like, no, she has to choose one of them. She has to choose one of them, and she doesn't want to choose one of them. It's very frustrating. I'm gonna say something a little sexist here, but like, it is kind of a universal truth. Most women have difficulty making decisions. I could do a whole video on this. I won't at this juncture. I might tell some stories in another video, but like, at least a lot of women that I've known in my life, if you push comes to shove, they have to make a decision. Oh man, it's hard times. It's rough, and this is a really hard decision. So you can imagine what Lizzie's going through. But no, like, if you want to, like, whatever, choose a restaurant, like, usually the dude's gonna take the initiative and choose the restaurant. You know what I'm saying? Then this is a much bigger decision than that. But yeah, it's I don't know. And we also get some depth with the two ACs, the two afterlife coordinators. Like one's obviously rooting for Miles Teller, one's rooting for the other guy, and it's fun to see their little rivalry. They're both trying to like play each side and try and get Lizzie to choose their preferred person. I mean, again, like I don't really see the like what's their, you know, I don't know. What's their motivation? It's like, what is there like a reward at the end of the tunnel for them? Like, why are they so invested in this? I guess it's just like a kind of a charming or interesting love story to them they don't see very often, so that they get kind of invested in it the way you get invested in like a TV show or something. I don't know. But they're both really fun characters. All the characters are really great in the movie. All the actors put in really good performances. I have to give lip service to Lizzie. She's so good in the movie. She has the most wonderful laugh. I always say this, but like listen to her laugh in this movie. She's just so funny. She's like really funny and just so charming. She has the most wonderful smile. And she's really funny too. Like I think a lot of projects they don't give her like room to be funny. You know what I mean? But they're like one of the best scenes is like she meets up with her dead friend Karen, and they like she's just so distraught over the choice, and she ends up like getting drunk with Karen and just kind of like, you know, complaining and just trying out all these different eternities, and it's really funny. It's really funny hearing her drunk. It's very funny actually. But yeah, I've rambled on long enough. Please go see Eternity if humanly possible. If you can't see it in the theater, if it's already left, then please rent it on VOD or whatever when it comes out to that. So yeah, see ya.